back again. Uh, Hope everybody is doing well. This is the first thing I will ask everyone all the time. I just hope everyone is better. They are finding their ways out. They are. I hope everyone here is at least getting 1% of benefit from what is happening. I won't say 10, 15% because it's a long way. But anyone who is getting at least 5% of benefit, I'm very happy to hear this. And I hope that you people will keep on increasing the, the progress, if I can say, towards the light, toward that enlightenment, towards that spiritual growth, if I can call it. So, to get to that point, as I said in the last time when we discussed in one of the videos, we were speaking of sufferance and how to overcome that sufferance. To overcome that sufferance, most of the time, it's just a growth from one state to the other state to the other state. Because I think I did mention in one of the old videos where we are made of 7 bodies. The free body, which is the physical body, the etherical body, and the astral body. Conscious, subconscious, sleep, and whatever. So, the more we try, we do the breathing coming to a certain point. Now the breathing should be over with most of you who have listened to the previous videos. When this breathing has come to a point where it is now controlled not by the mind, but just by sitting. So you don't do the breathing by counting anymore. The breathing has become a part of yourself. So it has already grown the consciousness from wherever state you were into a different state of consciousness. So that bit of growth that we are having, that little bit of growth that we had, has already moved us from, let's say, initially I was someone who was depressed, who had lots of problems with my, with my speech, with my heart chakra, or whatever problems I had. This has diminished. When this diminishes, my consciousness grows from, let's say, from A to distant B now, which can be whatever. But there's no distance. It is just a growing of the consciousness from one state to the other. So when this is happening, I start feeling that my whole body system starts losing certain things which I am used to do. And the more I lose it, the more I feel growing. How do I know that growth? Is I can see around me. The people with whom I was before are no more there. Everything which was toxic in my life is dropping. Everything that is positive is happening because my consciousness, my way of thoughts, my way of growing is going to different levels. This is why you would see now people who are coming towards you are very much more aligned to what you are used to talking to. But before, when you were in the lower consciousness, the people who were there were always toxic, giving you negative thoughts, speaking to you wrongly. Now, after, let's say it's been a month now, so if you, well, for those who are practicing, I cannot apply this to everyone. People who are stopped halfway and then doing this on a part-time basis is not going to happen to them. I'm sorry. This is going to happen for people who has been, it is like, I go to school. I start learning this alphabets A until I get to Z. But if I go to school today, I've learned only A to D, then I don't go to school for 2 months. I come back, but the class has moved. They are doing words and I'm still stuck to D. So I will not understand. Then again, I will start after 2 months. I say, okay, now I will start learning the other alphabets. Okay, we start from E, we come to, let's say, M, for example. And then again, I don't learn. But each time I'm learning only 3 alphabets here, 2 months I will not grow. It will take me a lot of time. I have to be in it in a progressive way, every day, until my whole consciousness keeps growing. It's like a child. You need to feed it every day. You can't feed it one day, then you don't feed it 10 days. You go back, it will not grow. This is exactly what I'm trying to explain here. So those who has practiced it from day one and on a continuous basis will find that change. That now I am no more in the toxic world. The toxic world is left behind because my consciousness grew. So, who I am now speaking to? I am speaking to people who are on the same level of my understanding. This is called synchronicity. When I see everything that is around me coming to me, I wanted, even before you think of something, that thing is with you. I am thinking of having a new job, for example. I see that job there. I am thinking of having, a better life. I can see this happening. This is called synchronicity, the growth of the consciousness. Then it is like, like a strainer where you put water and tea in it. So all the strain, all the tea leaves there, the good tea is falling. But small, small particles are remaining. Again, you will have to put another strainer to make that tea also, that leaves block. So that finally only the liquid that you want to use. So this is how consciousness growth is very important after doing the practice of breathing. This is why initially I said you count it on your fingers. To understand why the counting was there was to train that mind, not to count in the mind. It has to go there. When the mind is today completely trained, you don't have to count. You do the breathing, everything will work on its own. Because you have practiced before, now you're operating in it. So the more you do this, the more you will feel that everything that you have missed or you want to happen is just happening on its own. Without even thinking, it is thoughts. It is just thoughts. Let's say 5 years back I wanted to have this, but I never had it. But when you do that practice, sufferance has diminished, consciousness has grown, everything has to come to a certain level of growth. Everything that you wanted to have is now happening in front of you. And without effort, you're not doing any effort because you wanted it. At a certain point of time, you wanted this, but it didn't happen. Now it is happening. And why it is happening? It's just because the thought was being thrown long time back to happen at a certain time. But because of the negativity or the micro consciousness in which you were, just avoided these things from happening. Today, when this is growing, everything that was blocked is just on the table now. It's coming one by one. But don't forget, when this is happening, at the same time, you're losing so many things which was unwanted. If there are unwanted people in your life, they will disappear. You would see only good people that maybe you don't want these people, but these people has a certain work to do with you. Some people say, oh, I wanted to have new love, for example. That type of soul will show up. It's like a soulmate, if I can call, or someone who has a certain journey to do with you. These type of people will show up because of these factors of draining out the toxic things and getting the positive things. So this is where these practices come into play. This is why the breathing techniques is very important to be learned on the fingers until you master it yourself, to be used on, not to be used, to happen within you where it has to happen in a positive and a very soothing way, if I can call this, soothing, blissful way. This is why the breathing all the time has to keep on going until it becomes part of yourself. Because the breathing or the vibration or the sound is the only thing that will bring you to that higher consciousness. Coming to the consciousness, like I always said, these 7 bodies we have. Each time you do that, it takes time to grow from the astral to the mental body. Now when it comes to the mental body, the human being himself starts becoming shaky. He will start shaking, he starts living differently because the mind starts, it is as if right now you're breathing in a very much oxygenated place, which is pure air. All of a sudden I take you and I put you somewhere which is full of oxygen. This is pure air, but there are some impurities like some pollution in there. All of a sudden, you go in some like a chamber where there's pure air. You can feel the breath that you're having. It's pure. So this is exactly the same when you start changing from the human state, you go to the mental state, the body will start shaking because it is not used to that new environment. It starts shaking, you start shivering, you start having kind of mental fog mind because everything starts changing. And the more it changes, the more different you feel because the chakras are now operating differently. So these are the process in which we have to grow from physical, etherical, astral into the mental state. After the mental state, those who will, of course, push it to a certain level, gets into the spiritual state. When you get into the spiritual body, that is even worse because all the angels, all the prophets, everyone who visited this planet, they come from the spiritual body. They have this physical body, of course, but they come from that consciousness where the spiritual body is. This is why when they come here, they start creating certain kind of magic or certain kind of miracles, as we call it, because these miracles are happening because of the spiritual condition in which they are. They are not living in our condition. And now, if you see more elevated bodies, this is the cosmic body, which is even higher, but this basically people can't see with their eyes. Most of the time when the people coming with the cosmic body is much more difficult to see with our naked eyes. So we have the potential of growing from this state in which we are born to come at least to the spiritual state. But we can also overcome and keep on going, but then you will lose that body in the sense that where you will find nothing existing, nor that physical state, nor the mental state, because you become one. This is oneness. When everything here is aligned in a one state, then the body is existing because it is born to die on this planet, but at the same time, it is existing on different types of conditions, where we will discuss this in another time, but it will live on different conditions with no pain, no sufferance, no hatred, nothing, because the consciousness itself is drawn there now. But the body is here. This body is very much here. It will eat very little. It will operate very little. It will be like something which is here and at the same time not here. This is also a choice. People who want to be in that condition can go through that. Some people say, why would I want to live in this when I'm very happy living with my family or whatever here? That's also good. But don't forget, this is temporary. Living with the family, living with whoever it is here, is temporary. So what do you say? I enjoy that moment, or I search for liberation of soul? You see, this is a big choice to be made. Do I sacrifice my life and live here with my family, my close ones and everything? But this is temporary. No one has come here and lived, eternally. No. Everybody has come here. They've lived for X time of life. Some goes young, some goes older, whatever. But does that complete our existence? No. In fact, it doesn't. Because our aim of coming here is not to be living temporarily. This soul, or whatever you call it, it's an ongoing process. It never dies. It is just on a journey to make you suffer. But to come out of that suffering, you need to know how to liberate it and merge with the Supreme. And to do that, if you get stuck here with this family, okay, it's good. I don't say no. But let's think about it properly. How much time? That's not the joy. Because no one can remember. Okay, I remember my father, for example. I remember my grandfather, for example, but I don't know my grandfather's father. In the same way, in my existing life, I know um my father, I know myself, I know my child, for example, my child's, and after that, I won't know. So, what the use of being here? Well, not what's not the use. Sorry, because some people won't like that. What is the aim of the life of the soul? Is to progress from that temporary life that we have, and not be stuck here by what we are seeing, because this is illusion, and that illusion make us forget. Like I'm telling you, we grow old, we become diseased, we shall die. Again, another cycle will start. We don't know where that cycle will start. The best thing is to let go from here. So, those who are searching for that, this is the way to go. Those who still feel very attached to the family, you're welcome to do it, because there is nothing wrong in that. It is also the biggest pleasure to keep with the family, because the family is very sacred. The family is more that is required. Close one is what we require. So I'm not trying to tell you should not do that. Please don't get me wrong. Carry on. Whatever you feel is better for you, you keep there. But most of the people who are listening, I know what I'm trying to say. They are grasping that one as well. Those who are on this line, I will explain to you the evolution of the soul also, why it is like that. For now, thanks a lot, and right. We will answer everything that you have. Thank you very much for now, and take care until we get we catch up on the other episodes sometime. Thanks a lot. Bye.